Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into today's conversation, I want to share a little bit about 2Before, today's presenting sponsor of the podcast. I've worked with 2Before for over 2 years now, and it's really cool to work with partners long-term, and 2Before has been there for me for a long time, and they make an incredible product that I'm always happy to talk to you guys about. Breaking down 2Before for you, if you're unfamiliar, 2Before is made up of blackcurrant powder, and if you're not familiar with blackcurrants, they are antioxidant berries grown in New Zealand, and studies have shown that consuming them regularly improves endurance by increasing blood flow and removing lactic acid, and they also can manage inflammation and kickstart muscle recovery, meaning you can hit your next training session just as strong as you did the previous day. Today, I have a special code for you, the Running Effect 30, which will give you 30% off of your purchase. And I'm really excited to hear the testimonials of you guys trying it out because I firmly believe this stuff works and is a great asset to your training. Without further ado, enjoy my conversation of the podcast today. That was Sondre Guttormsen today on the Running Effect podcast. Rarely do I talk to pole vaulters, but it was an utter honor to welcome on one of the greatest of our time, one of the greatest of our generation, because he's a European champion, he's a two-time Olympian, a three-time NCAA champion, and one of the elite few in the pole vault 6-meter club. I ask Sondre a lot of quote-unquote stupid questions. If you are familiar with the pole vault, I am not, so I asked him a lot of base questions around the event, the discipline itself, as well as his journey in the sport, his time in the NCAA, going to Princeton, handling academics, as well as being one of the greatest to do it in the NCAA, and then the transition from college to pro, having his dad as a coach and agent, training with his brother, some stories from winning championships, making the Olympics, his ambitions for Tokyo at the World Championships this year, and so much more. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. If you guys enjoyed it as well, do me a favor, share it with a friend, anyone you know. Let's blow up this podcast. Really want to obviously continue to grow and expand the show, and the easiest way you can help me in doing that is sharing this episode or your favorite episode with someone you know. Please also consider giving us a 5-star review. It takes 3 seconds, guys. Really helps us out in the algorithms. And the last thing, hit the follow or subscribe button wherever you listen to never miss another episode. And without further ado, enjoy this conversation with the man, the myth, the legend, Sondre Guttormsen. Sondre Guttormsen, one of the best names in track and field, debatably. Welcome to the Running Effect podcast. I would say, how are you doing this afternoon? I fear it's probably evening in Norway.
Yeah, it's about 9 p.m. But I want to say thanks a lot for having me here. I'm super excited. I follow you on Instagram and yeah, just been following you a little bit. And I thought it was cool you invited me on here.
Appreciate it, man. 9 p.m. If people are watching this on Spotify or YouTube, it's not very dark out. What season are we in Norway?
It is. That's actually pretty bright. It stays like this all the way till like pretty much till midnight, and then the sun barely goes down. So it's summertime here. It's about the brightest few days in the summer. So it's nice. It's hard to sleep though sometimes, but
yeah. Do you have like blackout curtains?
Yeah, I got to. Blackout curtains, AC, even though AC's debatable if it's needed or not, but I like it cool.
Me too, man. I'm like a strict 67. It's got to be 67 or lower. And a fan.
Me too.
I love fan. White noise. Do you like white noise?
The AC, my AC unit is quite loud, so I guess you could call that white noise.
Nice. Very nice. Do you like that it stays that light out, or does it make it hard to like get tired?
I do enjoy it. I like training pretty late, so sometimes I'll have late sessions. So you can train all the way till 9, and it'll stay relatively warm too. So yeah, I don't mind it at all.
It's crazy. When you come over to the States or other parts of Europe that are more normal from like a time zone perspective or a circadian rhythm, I don't even know what the words would be. Does that ever throw you off?
Yeah, obviously. I travel quite a bit back and forth to States and Europe, so but I'm learning strategies, and yeah, it doesn't affect me too bad anymore. But it's always, as any American competing in Europe would. I mean, I'm not American, but any American would understand the struggle.
As someone who knows next to nothing about pole vaulting, what should I know about the sport?
I guess coming from, you have a running background, I guess, and a lot of runners are probably listening. I don't know how it is for you compared to pole vaulting, but pole vaulters are we travel and compete a lot together, and we kind of develop like a little bit of a friendship. I think runners maybe have a little bit more of like that competitive, because you're actually in the same race, kind of pushing each other and stuff. We kind of compete against the bar, and everybody knows the struggle of pole vaulting and the struggle of just traveling with poles, all of that behind the scenes stuff. So I think that's something that is a little bit niche and different about our sport.
For you, I know a lot of athletes are biased when it comes towards their sport within the sport of track and field, but would you say pole vaulting is the best sport within track and field or no?
Oh, 100%. It's like
Why?
it
Make your
is
case.
just okay. I feel like pole vault should just, honestly, I've thought about this a lot. Like pole vault should just be its own thing. Like sure, it can be in track and field, like in the Olympics and world champs and stuff. But I really enjoyed those pole vault only meets, like the street meets. Um, just bringing pole vault to the people instead of like having it kind of disappear in all of the other events out on the track, because you're way farther away. I think anyone who's watched pole vault and anyone's watched pole vault super close up, like just it's just a whole different thing, because it looks just spectacular. And yeah, it's like the X Games. Like we could be, yeah. I think pole vault could be its own thing, and I really enjoy doing those meets. So
I think the one name a lot of people will be familiar with is Mondo Duplantis. How would you measure his dominance in the sport compared to other disciplines? Because I think if he had the same level of dominance in the 100 and the 200, like he was better. He's better at pole vault than I feel like Usain Bolt was at the 100. I don't know if that's a stretch to
yeah,
say.
I don't know if I can think of anyone who's uh, been more dominant the last how many years? Like 5 years. He's lost maybe like two or three times at most. Wasn't it 400 hurdler that won like 50 races in a row? It must be something comparable to that. But yeah, Mondo's completely, yeah, dominant. Like we all just back there trying to chase him. But yeah.
How do you grapple with the dreams? I'm sure you dream of winning gold, of winning meets with being on the circuit with him.
Um, that is a good question. I mean, I have always dreamed of gold, I guess, but I also have just dreamed of making it. And for the longest time, that was just priority number one. Just okay, my dream is to make the Olympic Games. And then obviously, when you realize that that is within reach, you shift your goals. Okay, now the dream is to win a medal or win gold. Um, so I just strive to be the best that I possibly can be, and I think I'd be a little delusional thinking I can jump for a world record like with how high it is right now, but I do think I can jump quite a bit higher than what I've already jumped, and just trying to get a little bit closer every year, and just yeah, I just want to be the best that I can be, and then see how close that ends up being.
How important is that mindset of being the best you can be? Because at the end of the day, you can't control how high everyone else jumps, but you can control how high you jump.
I think that's super
Also, is that
important.
even the terminology? I don't want to.
Yeah,
Is it how high you
yeah, yeah,
jump?
yeah, yeah. How you jump, but
How
I think
high you fling
also,
yourself into the air?
Yeah, sure. But I think also a little bit similar to how like whenever the first person runs sub 4 in the mile, Mondo has just taken our sport to a completely different level. It also opens up for us back there to see that okay, like 6 meter isn't like, that's not even like that's not even impossible. Like that's very possible. And then 610 is maybe even possible. 620, like he's pushing 630. So I think it opens up a lot for the people behind, and like you don't glorify that 6 meter so much when Mondo does it every time he steps on the track. And I think you have seen a little bit of improvement in the guys behind. There's other guys jumping 6 meters more often. I've jumped 6 meters, which was a dream come true for me, and something when I was little only could dream of. I barely thought it was possible. And when I was like 10, 15 growing up during the sport, I think only like 10 or 15 people had done it. And now close to 30 have done it. So, yeah.
I've heard this rumor that you get a bonus every time you set a record or world record or meet record. I've heard a rumor that Mondo is just really meticulous with how he just inches a little bit more each and every single time to get more bonuses.
Yeah, that's for all I know, 100% true. And I'd probably do the same if I was in his position. Yeah, I mean, he's only 25 years old, and he knows that he's going to be in peak fitness for a few more years. So it's not like he needs to go straight to 640 right now. I think he knows that he'll break the record a few times each season, and yeah, he'll. I think he will push it to the max. Um, I don't think the world record would end up being that different if he just would go for his max every single time. Like, say he's feeling real good one meet. I don't know if it would really change if he puts it at like 635 one meet and just decides to go for it. I think then if he would have made it eventually at some point anyways. And he still hasn't even gotten close to pushing the limits of like conditions. Like he doesn't like try to break. He doesn't try to go to world. Sorry, he doesn't try to go to meets where there's like insane conditions. He's done it at Stockholm Stadium. It's not like a known to be the best place to pole vault, and he still break it there. So I think he can break it many years in the future. But yeah.
Can you explain to someone who doesn't really understand pole vault how impressive the numbers you're sharing are?
Well, it's 28 centimeters higher than what was like considered insane, 6 meters, which is 6 meters. And what would, I don't know how much that is in other events, but it is 30 centimeters higher than what normally would win the Olympics and World Championships.
Even 6 meters, though, can you explain that and quantify that for the audience? Like how crazy that is, how high that is.
It's, I don't know. I think only 30 people have done it. So it is of all time. And our sport has been around for a while. So it is, to be a part of that group is just insane to think about.
Can you explain the physics of pole vault? Again, a lot of my questions today are going to be stupid because you're in a world that understands pole vault, but most people are like me. So I'll assume a position of innocence. Like, I can't fathom how you do it. I can't fathom how you have a pole and you literally spring yourself up.
Yeah. So I was always very acrobatic as a kid, and I did every sort of sport, trampoline, pole vault, or track and field, handball, soccer. I did everything, and diving. But I realized that pole vault is very much a track and field event, like meaning it is very much speed. And there's a lot of people think, okay, you have to be like just a gymnast and like swing yourself over, but 90% of it is just pure speed running down the runway. And that's really how we train a lot of our like physical training is just to be as fast as possible. And then obviously once you're in the air, then it's all gymnastics. But you're not going to be able to jump high without being fast first. So I think in the beginning of training, it is really important just to learn the technique, the coordination of all of it, and then you work on speed throughout your entire career, and then you have to put it all together.
So a lot of your training, would you say, is like a sprinter, like a 100, 200 guy?
Yeah, at least now when you kind of have gotten to a point where the technique is pretty good. Obviously, a huge part of our training is still technical focused, but in terms of physique, most of it is just training to be as fast as possible.
What would you say are like those core key characteristics growing up that most of the top pole vaulters have that makes them enter the profession?
Yeah, I think we all chase adrenaline. I think it's probably what sets us apart from other events. I've always just loved speed, like being fearless, doing flips, all that stuff. So yeah, I think that sets us apart from maybe some other events that are less dangerous, because it is quite a dangerous sport.
What were those early memories early on pole vaulting?
Just really just trying to figure it out because it is so complicated, and I felt like you were just trying to figure out how to even do the event itself. A lot of other sports, like you can at least do the basics of it, but pole vault you have to get to a certain level to even be able to do the full event and to look like to kind of look like what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, I have had the blessing of living super close to a track So like in the summertime, like we would just go out and jump way late into the evening and record each other and just try to learn how to do it. Watch YouTube, just be a student of the sport.
From your experience, the time that you've been in the US, as well as kind of your understanding of the systems, what was it like growing up in Norway? And what would you say are the biggest differences in terms of like development, training, competition, as a young kid in Norway versus the US?
Mm, Probably like in terms of track and field, at least, the biggest difference in like the system is we have a club system in Norway and in most of Europe, and in the US it's much more like school based. Like you join the school's track team, um, and also I think it's more common to do more events growing up here. Like I started track when I was like 9 or 10, and I would just sign up for track and field. Like you wouldn't sign up for like pole vaulting or 100 meters or whatever. So I did everything, all the events, and I competed in all the events. So I got like a pretty good balance of everything. And I think that's also what made me good at pole vaulting, because you do need a lot of different strengths in order to be good at it. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest difference. That it's not really part of school, and you also maybe it's also maybe a little bit more common to start younger. I feel like a lot of the older pole vaulters from the U.S. That I know, they start late middle school or just in high school. While here it's more common to start even younger. Not necessarily like with your specific event, but at least with track. So yeah.
Doing all those events, did you ever think about doing something like the decathlon?
I did the decathlon a few times actually growing up, like U18, under 18. Did like some Nordic championships, but I was so little back then, so like I would have done a lot better now. But like I was coordinated and I knew like technically all the events, but I was just immature and little, so I didn't like win anything. But I ran the World Juniors in the 110-meter hurdles, and I actually got second at the. Sorry for all the bragging. I got second at the, what is it, at CIF California State Meet in the hurdles
Uh-huh.
when I was a senior. So that was my hurdle career.
Wow.
I
So
was
did
doing
you grow
hurdles
up in the
quite
US then?
competitively. So quickly, just
Yeah, give me the story. Give me the story.
yeah, I lived in Norway until senior year of high school, and then my dad had a sabbatical. He's a professor, so he had a sabbatical at UC Davis. So we moved there for a year, and I spent senior year of high school there and graduated from Davis High School before I started college at UCLA. And then I went to UCLA for 2 years, and then I transferred to Princeton to join my younger brother, who was a year younger, and started there. Um, and yeah, then I graduated from Princeton. So I've kind of lived in the US now since 2017.
Wow.
So quite a few years.
Senior year, like outside of the sport, but maybe the sport included, what was it like having a massive shift coming to the US, kind of the final year of the system of the high school year? Were classes hard? Obviously, two way different countries, way different systems and setups. Or would you say it was pretty similar?
Yeah. I'm sure it's different, but it wasn't. It didn't feel that different. A lot of the classes and stuff was fairly similar in terms of level and stuff. So it wasn't like that challenging. I mean, English, like we have learned English in school in Norway, so I wasn't a total idiot, but yeah, a bit of a challenge obviously at first, and I think also in terms of getting friends coming into school at senior year, everybody's kind of had their circles and everything, and um, but I started settling better in once this track and field season started after Christmas, when we started competing and stuff, and that was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed just being part of a team, because growing up in Norway we didn't really have as much of that. So like going to meets with the entire school, the school's track team, everybody had to wait for me pole vaulting into the night. That I really enjoyed, and also obviously going into college with the same like team feeling that we don't really have here, and that you don't really have as a pro either. I think that was really fun. Made the sport a lot more fun, just competing and training with the team.
Same country, big fan. So naturally, I have to ask, what was the first time you heard Jakob Ingebrigtsen's name?
I think I've raced him. I'm not actually sure. I've definitely been at the
Wow.
same meets when he was like when I was like 11. Yeah, he would be at the same meets when I was little. I mean, he's a couple years younger, so I don't think we actually raced. But I saw him and his like video team or whatever, because you probably seen the series, the
Yeah.
show, Team Ingebrigtsen. So I've seen him in his speed suit and reflective sunglasses when he was probably
When he was
9 years
young.
old.
Do you remember what your
Yeah.
times were in the mile or 15, whatever you ran? Because you said you did all the
Oh,
events.
I think I ran like a 600-meter once back then. But I can't really remember time. I think my fastest was like 130 something, 133 or something,
Okay.
which was like okay. I don't know. I remember how well that was, but I remember it was brutal.
What do you
I
think?
think I actually ran better my first 600-meter than the next one, because I didn't know that it was going to be so painful the first time. So I ran hard, and then the second time I was just scared, so I ran shit.
Protecting yourself. What do you think you could run a
Yeah.
mile peak shape currently, like peak pole vault shape?
Oof. Under a mile or 50. I would have
Either
more
or.
of a feel
Yeah,
for the 15.
1500.
I ran a 450, 1500-meter when I was 17. That's about like 10 kilos ago, so I don't know if I'd be better or worse now in terms
Something
of
around
body
that.
weight and
Yeah.
strength. I don't know if that would help or be worse, but I think around there. What would that be in the 15? No, a mile, like 5:15 or something?
5:15, yeah, 5:20.
5:10.
Yeah, probably
something like that.
5:15.
Yeah.
What
Not something we prioritize.
is upper body strength a pretty big emphasis for pole vault or no?
Mm,
What matters the most
I
from
wouldn't
a
say
body
like pretty. I wouldn't
perspective?
say like pretty big, but you have to be pretty symmetrical in terms of lower and upper body. But I mean, if you look at the pole vaulters, we're no bigger than a sprinter, so it's like a little bit similar.
What kind of work are you
Yeah.
doing in the gym? What do your gym days look like?
So then it's going back to a little bit like similar to how sprinters train. It is a lot of like Olympic lifts, some big compound movements, and then some like general upper body strength. It's pretty simple, to be honest with you. It is, yeah, cleans, snatches, squats, deadlifts, bench press, chin ups, and then obviously some like gymnastics type pole vault specific exercises. But it's really, I'm like a believer in just doing the basics and not really having to like reinvent the wheel. It's not like you need to do something really crazy or anything. And I think if you looked at some of the greatest athletes ever, like Usain Bolt and stuff, there's nothing like uh, crazy you have to do. For me, the most important thing is just to be able to pole vault and to get as many jumps as possible, just improving my technique. Yeah.
How often are you like actually pole vaulting in practice?
Twice a week usually. So if we're competing, then sometimes it's only once. It's really something so taxing that you can't do it that much.
Is
I
it
really
really?
wish there was.
So you do you
Yeah,
get sore
it is.
after?
I wouldn't necessarily say sore. It's more like your center of nervous system is just fried.
Hmm.
Like similar to how sprinters can only sprint like 3 times a week. Pole vault is it's really high intensity, so you can't do it that often. Like if you were trying to pole vault back-to-back days, you would feel really shitty.
Wow.
And the risk of injury is also huge. So yeah, you can't really do it more than like every 3 days. So that would be 2 to 3 times a week, which is unfortunate because that's like the most fun.
In these competitions, obviously other competitors are well, explain to someone out there how a pole vault competition works. Like how do you win? I know, but I think a lot of people don't.
Oh, well, it's pretty simple. You get 3 attempts at each height, and whoever jumps the highest wins. And there's a set progression before the meet starts, and you can choose which height you start at, and you can skip heights or yeah, and then it's whoever jumps the highest in the end wins. It's a very simple event, which I also think is cool. But there's a bit of tactics going into it. Sometimes you can skip heights or do this and that, but yeah, essentially it just comes down to who jumps the highest.
To that point, what are you doing while other competitors are jumping? Like how do you keep your composure? What are you thinking?
It varies a bit. Everything from just talking shit with the other pole vaulters. We're all relatively good friends, so we just chat. Um, Everything from that to just laying low, trying to relax, trying to focus and visualize the next jump. But we can be out there for like 3 hours, so it's kill time, try to stay relatively focused, and yeah, that's about it.
Do you ever eat snacks? What are you drinking? Like how do you stay on top of that sort of thing?
Yeah, energy bars, bananas, Powerade, like just just try to keep hydrated and keep being fueled throughout the entire competition. It's yeah, candy, just anything.
What's the craziest thing you've eaten during one of those periods?
I wouldn't maybe say crazy, but like Sour Patch Kids.
Okay. Is that just like for quick
It's like
sugars, quick boost?
just like a good snack.
For you, during that like 3 hour portion, give or take, what are you nervous the whole time? Are you pretty composed? Are you nervous towards the end, not in the beginning? What are those emotions through a 3 hour? Because 3 hours is a long time. It's a long time to be out there.
Yeah, it is. Like towards the end of the season, you do kind of feel this like mental, like you're a little bit drained because it takes so much to just stay relatively focused and be in and out of focus for the duration of the event. And that can be very challenging at times. And yeah, a lot of us have like sports psychs or psychologists that we work with just to try to work on all of that. Yeah, but it can definitely be like a challenge because it takes so long. Like you can't be like hyper focused for 3 hours. You have to go in and out kind of thing.
Was there a moment, a competition, a conversation with the coach where you realized that pole vault was your calling in life and something that you were really, really good at, really great at, could be one of the best at?
Um, That's a good question. I think it just kind of came with time. Like as I was saying, I did do a ton of events growing up, but it didn't take that many years till I knew that it was a pole vaulter that I wanted to be. But I wouldn't say there was like one instance. But I started like quitting event after event. Like every year, it'd be less events and hurdles I would kind of stick with for a while. And then eventually, a little bit of injuries and stuff, I'd stop doing that too, and then just lock in on pole vaulting.
During your time in the NCAA, you collected 3 titles: indoor champion in 2022 and 2023, and outdoor champion in 2022. And then in March 2023, you tied the collegiate indoor record at 6 meters flat, joining the sport's most exclusive club, as we talked about. That's definitely a barrier, and specifically for college. What was your time in the NCAA like, and what was it like to be so dominant?
That's funny because back when I started at UCLA, I was like so not dominant. Both indoors and outdoor, I was not all American. I was 9th and 10th, even if I had pretty good results coming in. But then when I went to Princeton and I got a little bit older, got a little better, things obviously changed, and I won 3 in a row. I really enjoyed my time in NCAA. I think if you're listening and you're in the NCAA right now, like I'm kind of jealous of you, even if you probably want to be pro and I kind of want to still be in the NCAA system. It's like the grass is always green on the other side, but I really believe that the NCAA system is amazing just for developing and for training with teammates and having such a good time with the sport while also doing at a really high level. I mean, I was jumping 6 meters while also like working on my thesis, taking a full class load, being social, like all that combined. And I think that's something that the NCAA system is really good at, like just being able to do those things at the same time, all at a really high level. Yeah. And then obviously also like traveling with the team, competing and supporting each other, like collecting points for the school. I mean, we won 3 Ivy League championships during that time. So I was doing my best to get as many points as possible to keep that streak going. Yeah, that is something I really enjoyed and that I kind of miss now that I'm mostly just competing for myself, for my country. But it's a little bit different.
Princeton is one of the most prestigious schools in the country. What was it like balancing the academic side of it with being the best in the NCAA? Was that ever a struggle?
Yeah, I mean, I remember in high school I was like afraid to even like look at the Ivy League schools because I thought it would be like too challenging, and then I realized that it was possible and that I had the capabilities to combine the two. Um, I enjoyed it. I've always been like I can't sit still. I'm not the kind of guy to just go to training camp and play video games all day and then train for a few hours and then go back to watching Netflix. Like I have to do something and I have to get like stimulated. um, so taking a big class load and working on my thesis, all that stuff was, I think, very helpful for me, because then you kind of had the track, you really focus on that, and then when you're done with the track, then you kind of put that on hold and you go study, take your classes, do your exams. Yeah, I think it was good for my overall focus and my overall just well-being, honestly. Um, so in Europe, it's a little bit different. Like, it's not so common to just go straight from high school into studying full time. If you're at like a pretty good high level, like, it's common to take gap years, to not study so much, study like part time. In the US, you kind of have no choice. Like, you go to college and you study full time, and then you compete, and then you try to do as good as possible so you can go pro when you're done.
What advice would you give someone out there who is struggling to balance academics with competition, with trying to maintain friendships and family life?
Well, for the last part, what you said, like the friendship stuff, I think that is maybe one of the biggest benefits of the college system, because you don't have to put in so much extra work in order to be social, because like you are part of a team and you're taking classes, so you're going to meet people no matter what. You're going to have lunch with people. I think that's kind of just, you kind of get friends for free if you're doing a sport, which was really nice. In terms of balancing academics and athletics, I think it's just being really good about time management. Like, just obviously focusing on getting the school work done early and not having to cram, because if you have to cram right before something and it collides with an event or a competition or something, then you're going to be stressed and it's not going to be good. So yeah, but this is like advice I would give to anyone that's just not even combining school with anything else, just in general. But I do think as athletes we have to be extra good at it, so that, for example, if you get to the NCAA championship, you're not feeling stressed about school, then you have to have time to relax and just focusing on your sport. But there's so many hours in the day, and we don't train that many hours. Even for the people that train a lot of like 20-30 hour a week, you still have a lot of time to spend your time doing something useful. So yeah.
You mentioned before part of the reason you transferred to Princeton was to join your brother. Take me through that relationship. What was that like? I'm not sure the story there, so I'd love to hear more on what it was like to be in college with your brother.
Yeah, so my brother and I started pole vaulting about the same time, when he was like 9 and I was 11, and we trained together ever since. So then I went to UCLA and I had a year or two without him, and he was back here in Norway for a year, and then he went to Princeton, and he really enjoyed Princeton, and he's the most academic of the two. He studied computer engineering, finance, whatnot. Um, so when he started there and he really liked it and he had a good team, it was like a no-brainer for me to try to transfer there and to try to join him. I was actually the first athletic transfer to Princeton, which was pretty cool. They even had to figure out what they wanted to do with the rules for that. I remember. So that was really special to be able to be back with him and to compete with him and train with him. And yeah, we continued that since. So it's been working out.
When you think back to your time in the NCAA, most fond memory and most an NCAA title like you're most proud of, that was like the most emotional to win.
Hmm. Well, I think when I jumped 6 meters, I don't think anything can beat that emotionally. But there's also something about winning the first time I won was really cool, because it was always something I dreamed of, winning the first one. Even if it wasn't the 6 meters, it was still really special. And that was also my brother got fourth, and we had our best Princeton NCAA run ever. We got fifth overall, which was super cool. So yeah, just being able to do something with the team was really special. And also, I can't like single out one of them, but winning Ivy League championship and the Triple Crown, which is winning cross country, indoor and outdoor, was really really cool, because that's something like I've never had before, like collecting points for a team and like really cheering on every single one, even if someone's like running for 6th, 7th, or 8th place, like just getting one more point was so hype and yeah, really special.
Take me between the bridge of three-time NCAA champ, doing all these things that really haven't been done in the sport before at the university level, to then joining the pro ranks, trying to do big things, trying to medal at global championships. Was that a hard transition for you? Take me through that.
Um, yes and no. I mean, I kind of would say even if I only turned pro after graduating Princeton, I did spend every single summer in Norway competing, and I represented Norway since 2018, even before going to college. So it hasn't felt like as different. And I've still lived in the US trying to train at colleges. Like my brother went to Duke for his grad school, and I would train more or less with a Duke team. So I've tried to kind of keep a similar schedule, but um, I guess it's the biggest difference is everything is like a lot more serious now. Like there's money involved, there's contracts involved. You have to satisfy this person, you have to pay this person, you have to deal with like an agent. Um, and just getting into meets, like you have to worry about that. Like when you're in college, you just go to the meets that's on the schedule, and now you have to like try to navigate with your agent and the meet organizer and be like, okay, which meet are we doing? And yeah, just trying to survive out here. So yeah, there's no like roadmap for this either. Like you just get thrown out there. You try to sign a pro contract if you're lucky enough, um, and then you're kind of on your own. Like I think a lot of the professional runners, it's a little bit different because you kind of sign to a group that's sponsored by a
Hmm.
brand. But in the other events, it's yeah, like I'm on my own. Like I'm out here training on the on the track by myself and with my brother and my dad, who's my coach and my agent. Um, but yeah, it's a very different like training and competition environment. I'd say it's like a lot more lonely. I wouldn't say I'm lonely, but like it's
Sure.
definitely more lonely than the NCAA system and being with the team. So I do miss parts of that. And that's why I've been trying to train in the US and try to keep like some of that like team culture going on.
Take me through your dad being your coach and agent. What's that been like? And is it hard to separate the dad hat from the coaching agent hat?
Yeah, I mean he's kind of taken a little bit of a backseat for the coaching. It's been a lot more my brother and I really coaching each other, and he's more of like a I mean he is a coach too, but he's also like a big like facilitator, we call it, just like making sure everything works. And he's also been my agent now for the last year. I had another agent when I first signed pro, and decided it's easier to keep it in the family and organize everything ourselves. um, but yeah, he's still learning. Like he's not a that's not his full-time job. He takes very little commission or zero commission for whatever few dollars I make. um but yeah, it's been a fun process still, just learning about how it works, like the ins and outs of the whole diamond league circuit, the A meets, the B meets, the ranking, the travel, uh, just all of that. It's yeah, as I said before, there's no roadmap, there's no like instruction guide on how it works. So you have to just figure it out, and we're just learning it year by year.
I want to read some of your accomplishments. 2023, you made history as the first ever Norwegian to win the European Indoor Championships, clearing 5.8 with zero misses. 2 years later, you backed it up. Bronze medal, 2025 European Indoors, going even higher at 5.90. And then you've also made, both Olympic games. You made the final in Paris. You placed remarkably well there. What do these accomplishments mean to you? I think a lot of people could leave the sport with 3 NCAA titles and be satisfied. For you, what drives you? What keeps you desiring training for more?
I mean, there's always more. I still haven't like sure I won a European championship indoors, and I've jumped 6 meters, which really are probably the two things I'm most proud of. Sure, in addition to the NCAA, but um, I do really want a global medal, World Olympics. We have Worlds coming up in September, and obviously the LA in 2028, which is like the main goal, career goal. maybe even 2032. So yeah, that is what drives me, and also just still feeling like I have a lot more potential than what I've already done. Um, Especially in terms of placing high at global meets. Like as I said before, if I would have equaled my PR at any World Olympic Games, I would have won most of them. And still to this day, like you would get medal at all of them. So being able to do something like that at the global championship is yeah, something I strive for every single day. Um, so yeah, collecting medals, I think it's results are cool, but medals are forever. So yeah.
Tokyo. How much do you think about it? How much do you visualize it?
Um, Maybe should visualize it more. To be honest, I do work on like visualization and stuff, so I should probably lock in on that as well. But I try not to think about the championships too much early on in the season. They come quick enough, and you get nervous quick enough. So for now, it's just trying to.
You don't want to add pressure.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's coming up, but it's still like what 8 weeks until. So we have a bit of time. I just try to focus on uh, getting as prepared as possible for it. So just every single training, trying to make it the best training possible. Yeah.
I love it. I'll have to get you back on the podcast, talk to you more, break it all down. Really appreciate your time today. I want you to get your rest, your sleep. A few more questions for you. On a serious note, for those listening out there, younger athletes look up to you, your journey, your progression, pole vault, or even not in the pole vault. What's the final takeaway message that you want to leave with the audience today?
I think something we already touched on, which is like the academics and college stuff, is that I would highly advise you to combine the two as good as possible. Like to be in school to really prioritize it, because also you're not going to have track and field forever. And I think for your mental clarity, for your overall well being, you're going to be a better athlete, you're going to be a better student, and you're going to be a better person. Um, if you take the time to prioritize both, and I don't think you need to get any worse at one if you prioritize the other. So yeah, that's my end takeaway for everyone listening.
I love it. Sondre, final question. I ask every guest on every single episode, if you had Gordon Ramsay coming over to your house for dinner, what would you choose to make for him?
Ooh, lasagna.
Oh,
Easy.
You can make lasagna?
Yeah, that's like I guess that's my specialty.
Okay, that's
one thing my mom
impressive.
taught me really well, and I just made it enough times to get decent at it. So yeah.
I love it. Real quick, a little add-on bonus for you. You're special. What are the biggest differences, would you say, between Norway and the US? And what do you like most about Norway? I want to travel more. I've never been to Europe. Really want to go.
Yeah, well, I
like
think some of the
TikToks
things
stuff,
I like.
and it looks
Yeah,
cool.
what I like maybe like most about Norway is our summers here, and I try to only spend my summers here because the weather is so good in the summer and not so good the rest of the year. So come in the summer, spend all your time outside late into the night, and yeah, that's probably that's one of the big differences. And something I like about Norway, and something I dislike about Norway in the winter, because then it's the opposite.
That's real, man.
Yeah.
That's real. Where I live, the summers are great, and then likewise the winters are like, why do I live here? It could start at 5 p.m. Snows. It's 10 degrees outside.
Yep.
Like, what's going on? So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your time. I feel like I learned a lot, and also just like impressed and inspired by your dedication. And I know a lot of other people will be as well. So keep crushing it. I'll be rooting for you to have one of those shiny things around your neck in 8 weeks here in Tokyo. And keep
Thank you. I
crushing it, man.
appreciate it. I'll do my best.